What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sarkis Unlocked. Today, I bring in one of the best dressed people in the industry and actually in the entire world, a South Florida real estate powerhouse and someone who's the very best at building and cultivating relationships. Stay tuned and listen to my good friend, John Wilson. John Wilson, it's good to have you back in the city where it all started and where we first met. I wanted to bring you on today to talk about your success, the good, the bad, your wins, your losses, everything in between.
Lots of those.
I know that you can share a lot of, key pieces and stories that will help all listeners, because I know you've helped me a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Over our 8-year relationship.
Same for you guys.
And I just remember the first time I met you, I got a call from Jay Parker. Jay was like, I got this guy, John Wilson from South Florida. He's coming to Boston and he really wants to present a new development project that he's on.
Solimar.
Solimar. And I know that, Jay calls me a lot of CEOs and sales managers across the country now. And they're always like, we got this guy in town, I got this person in town. And I'm like, all right, who am I meeting?
Another one.
I'm like, here's another one. But this guy was special. When you walked in the door, suited up, head to toe, pocket square, matching the cufflinks, matching the glasses. You had it all. I thought you owned the building you were selling. I have the funniest story ever, and then we'll get into this.
This is good. I know what he's going to say.
It's basically after we met, you had then continued to come to a lot of our events.
Sure.
You supported Manny and I's grand opening here and other big, events we've had over the years. And there's probably been 2 or 3 times people have came up to me and they're like, is that Douglas from Douglas Elliman? Is that the owner of the company?
I remember that.
Because you look like you own everything. And I'm like, no, that's just John Wilson from South Florida. He's a top producing agent. I'm a really good friend of mine. But we hit it off, we went out to dinner that night, and the rest is history, man. You're someone I truly value. That's why I've asked you to be here.
Thank you. I feel the same way, man.
Good friends, and we've built a solid relationship together that I hope to continue.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is real quick, you talk about who's John Wilson. When I come to Boston, I'm like, who are these guys? Like, I'm following them. I saw you guys. You won an award when we were at Summit. You guys won an award. I remember you guys walking up. You talk about clothes. You were dressed to the nines, you and Manny. I remember that part. But I'm like, what is the story with these guys? And you take me to dinner in North Boston that night.
North End, yep.
North End. And so we're walking down the street, and I'm like, what? And all of a sudden, we can't walk. This is a true. We cannot walk 1 block without someone stopping us that you guys know. And immediately, it all came into focus. It was like, wow, these guys are connected. So as excited as you were, it was the same thing on my end. And I believe in collaborating. You know that. You, Manny, and I, even your team, we've collaborated so much and just built a solid relationship where we lift up each other, and it's invaluable to me, your friendship.
Your text messages over the years are, just checking in on me.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say hello.
Yeah.
Hope all is well. You're not, talking business. You're not asking for anything.
No.
You're simply checking in.
Yep.
Telling me how much you appreciate our relationship and our friendship.
I do.
It's been awesome. I mean, I've learned a lot from you over the years, and it's really exciting to see your growth.
Thank you.
But to also hear the stories, because I say this all the time. I can be as good as I am. One thing that trumps all is experience.
Yeah.
You've been in the business world longer than me. No offense.
Yeah, no.
I'm not
longer than most people.
I'm not trying to age you here, John, but I'm just saying, you've been through more than me. You've been through more cycles than I have.
Yeah, experience was a great word.
You have that experience.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. I've said it on this podcast plenty of times. I don't believe in failures. I don't believe in, mistakes.
Yeah.
I believe that what people think are mistakes and failures are just lessons in disguise.
Yeah.
And it's without those lessons, you can't grow.
No.
So talking about lessons in disguise, before you got into real estate, in South Florida, before you were selling new development projects, you were a VP on Wall Street.
Yeah.
Tell
I didn't
me-
start it out that way, but yes, I ended up that
So
way.
tell me overall your experience on Wall Street, how that was, how that's different from what you're doing today, and how that business translated and helped you build your real estate business.
Great question. So my sister and I have 3 siblings. My sister Leslie.
Shout out Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie, who works for Elliman also.
Yep.
We kind of mirrored each other. I more followed her than she followed me, but my dad owned this big air conditioning company in Fort Lauderdale, and I was pretty much groomed to take it over. I get there after like 60 days, I'm like, this is not me. This will not work. Leslie was working on Wall Street. So I literally answered an ad in the paper to be a cold caller for an agent. Real estate, a broker. And I get there, the draw that they gave, this just shows you how long ago this was, the draw was $100 a week. I mean, how crazy is that when you think about it? No one could make it. But I went in and they told us, you have to dial, I was determined to be successful, you have to dial 100 numbers a day. And they gave you a sheet, and it had 1 through 100 little check boxes. I went home that night, not on a computer. I went on my own little tablet, and I wrote out a checkbox with 250 numbers a day. And I said, if they told me 100, I'm doing 250, because I'll just do more than everybody else. And I started out, and I worked from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, and I worked on Sundays. And I am so blessed to have Lisa, my wife, who's been with me for 40 years, supported me. I would not be here today without Lisa. But I would work constantly. And in the beginning, you talked about success and failure. So when you started the brokerage business, you have to take a class to pass the Series 7. So you're in a class, like you're with other people, men and women, and you sort of bond a friendship in that class. They were taking off and having success. I'm not. I'm working harder than anybody. I'm out-dialing everybody, and I'm not having that success. And I just kept going and going. And this is a true story. It was probably 4 months into it. I didn't write a deal. And people around me in the room are like, I can't believe you haven't written a deal, which made it even worse. And I can remember I was dressed up. I had suspenders on. I used to wear suspenders because of Gordon Gekko.
You got to get me a photo. I got to see
From
that.
Wall Street. I'll send you one.
Send me a photo.
No gray hair in that photo. But I went in the bathroom, and I went into a bathroom stall, and I cried. I started crying. I was just breaking down. Not only did Lisa and I work to make ends meet, Lisa and I would clean office buildings. We would get home at 11:30 at night and do the whole thing over. So my turning point was I came out of the bathroom. You could probably tell I was crying. This guy named Larry Shapiro, he's not around anymore. He comes up to me and goes, "You're too uptight. You're trying too hard. Just relax." He told me to put a mirror on my quad so I could see myself smiling. Anyways, it just happened overnight. Click, became the #1 broker in 1 year, outproduced every single person, did that for 8 years.
Were you living in Florida at this time?
I was living in Florida. I was living in Pompano Beach.
But you were going back and forth. You were traveling to New York a lot.
At this time, in the beginning, I was in an office. It was 2 partners that worked on Wall Street, didn't want to be in New York, but that was like they were way ahead of everybody else. But we had an office in Florida, but we had offices throughout all the United States and Canada. They asked me one time to give a meeting about what makes me successful. I gave the meeting. The next day they called me. They're like, "You're off the phone. We're making you the vice president of the company, and we want you to go to every office that we have and give meetings of why you're successful, what you do." So I went up to New York. I gave a meeting. Their productions doubled.
So let me ask you this. You're in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You're crying.
Yeah, crying.
After you were making 250 calls, when they were asking you to make 100.
Yes.
Was there ever a moment where you're like, F this, I'm quitting?
I would say about every couple hours.
Every couple hours.
Every couple hours. Because Lisa was.
Didn't quit.
I never did. It's not in my nature. Not in my nature. I knew that success was going to come. I just had to stay focused. I've been married for 40 years, and you've been around me when people say, what's the key to marriage? I didn't quit every time I wanted to. That's the key to being married.
It's very similar to something I read once about the difference between patience and aggressive patience.
Yeah.
Now, we're not, as real estate agents and being in sales and trying to build something special, you can't have patience, just patience. You need to have aggressive patience,
Yeah.
which means you're going to keep on calling and keep on and having conversations and keep building relationships, which is aggressively.
Yeah.
Doing that aggressively, but understanding that that might not convert to dollars in business right away.
Right now. Yeah,
But
no.
some people, they don't have the patience to wait for the conversion. They want the instant gratification.
Everybody does.
And that's the bad patience to have.
Yep, it is. It is. You make mistakes. You give up.
Or they give up because they're like, oh, you know what? Or they say that, you know what? I'll just wait. I'll just make a couple calls tomorrow, or I'm gonna be patient. It'll all work out.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you have to keep on calling.
Yeah.
You have to keep on building relationships.
Yeah.
You have to keep on trying.
Yeah.
And that's the only way it will work out.
Yeah.
You can't just pump the brakes.
Yeah, no, you can't. And the other thing is I tell people all the time, like, because I speak to Elliman offices and things like that, and I tell people that it's like the last half hour of faith is the hardest. Like just before you want to quit, that's where the breakthrough. And the crazy thing is you're here, but when you break through mentally, all of a sudden you go from here to here quickly. So it's not like it's a progression, but when you get your mindset right, which I talk about all the time,
Of course.
and you ask how that translate, all those meetings I gave, all that pushing through has helped my real estate career tremendously.
I can see that.
Yeah, big time.
I can see you dialing 250, 300
standing
people.
up. I stood up and paced back and
The
forth.
only thing I have to see is the suspenders, so make sure you send that over.
I'll send the picture.
All right, so let's talk about, since we're on the topic of Wall Street, you in the finance world, what is one financial habit that you kept from your time in banking that gives you an edge over other agents in your market? There's got to be something.
A few things. In investing, you leverage. So you leverage stocks, or you can trade something called a stock option where you control a lot of stock, but for not a lot of money. And that's kind of what we traded in. And so I took that concept of I can have a little or I can leverage myself. I used that on Wall Street. I even used it in the room, I got our rooms like a trading floor. I would walk into a room when I grew there. I had sometimes 400 people on the floor. So just think about it. Wow. Was everyone going to produce? No, in all honesty, the 80-20 rule is in life over and over again. 80% of our production came from 20% of the people. And that's the same thing in real estate when you look at a company overall. So I would say, money-wise, I would say that I learned a lot about finances and things like that. I learned that nothing happens quickly. You cannot become a millionaire overnight. You might, but that probably won't last anyways. But what I learned was the form of leverage. And what I did when I got to Elliman, which we'll get into in a second, is I could have been John Wilson, agent by myself. But what I realized when I got to Elliman, we have way more now, but we had 7,000 agents. And what I realized is I can be John Wilson agent, or I can make relationships, which I learned in the brokerage business through my agent, my employees and things, and I can expand myself. That's really how I've grown my business, is relationships with agents throughout the country. How I've grown our relationship with you and I is we leverage each other.
Makes all the sense in the world. Now let me ask you this. Have you always been into dressing for success?
Funny.
Like, no, honestly, like even on Wall Street, because you're always dressed to the nines, whether it's casual, whether it's, for a big event. Is this something you've always been into?
Yeah, it came from my grandfather and my dad. My grandfather and dad, they loved clothes. And so I watched my grandfather always dressed up. I watched my dad always being dressed up. And it's just inside. And it's not just me. It's my sister Lynn. It's Leslie. It's my brother David. Lisa met us. When Lisa met my family, she's like, wow, you guys get dressed up a lot. It's like, that's sort of our lifestyle. And part of my thing in the Wall Street thing is I kept envisioning in my mind. I think visualization is so key. I do it before I go into a pitch for a new listing, but I kept envisioning myself, best dressed guy on the floor, walking into a floor, having all these people that I was managing, and that when I walked into the room, I wanted people to look at me and be like, I want to be that guy. I'll never forget. I just kept envisioning.
You want to be Douglas.
Yeah. I wanted to be Douglas. I wanted to be the guy running the room. And honestly, I remember being in New York, walking onto a floor. I have a Ralph Lauren double-breasted suit on, and it clicked in my head. I'm like, oh wow. I'm there, because you're never really there.
So you essentially answered my next question. So you do believe that it is important to dress for success?
100%. That doesn't mean that I have to dress up and make I'm better than you, or I'm dressed better than you. No.
It's a confidence factor.
It is a confidence. And some, like for me, when I put this jacket on, or when I put that suit on, I don't wear a suit in Palm Beach because you'd look too slick, but when I get dressed, that's like me putting my uniform on to go to work.
I completely agree.
And I love clothes. Like,
what do I have in the back of my car every time you come with me?
Clothes, suits, shirts. You open the back door, there's shirts lined up. You look like you're traveling somewhere when I noticed that last night.
But it's because you don't know what you're going into. Sometimes I'm wearing sneakers and I get a call. And I always like to, okay, so we're talking about, fashion, right? Mm-hmm. One thing I ask, and I don't know if this is a question you've asked, but sometimes I'm wearing sneakers, sometimes I'm wearing Jordans, whatever it is. And if I get a referral, like I had someone call me like 6 months ago, and they were like, there's this one guy that is interested in selling. I told him to call you. It's a $50 million condo in the city. And I said, okay, tell me a little bit about him. I go, it's a financial advisor that called me, someone that works family office guy. And he goes, I said, let me ask you a question. I go, I have Jordans on right now, but I also have a pair of loafers in the back of my car. What do you recommend for this guy?
Yeah.
He goes, get rid of the Jordans and put on the loafers.
Yeah.
Stop the car, put on the loafers,
yeah.
Took off the Jordans,
yeah.
Changed the shirt to match the loafers,
yeah.
And boom, we got the listing, John.
Yeah, no.
So you have to be, that for me, I always have an extra outfit. Sometimes I'm wearing a white linen shirt.
Yeah.
You go, you have lunch, little mistake.
Yeah, that's me.
Tied to go doesn't always work.
Yeah.
So I always have extra shirts.
Yeah.
A pair of shoes in the car, sometimes a tie, because you just never know who you're gonna get asked to meet.
Yep.
At the
at a spur of the moment.
At a spur of the moment.
Yeah, no. It's funny. People ask me a lot of time, what's one of the pillars of success? Adaptability.
Adaptability, I love that.
You have to be, and you want to know, when I get a referral, do you know what I do in the world we live in now? I look the person up. If they're of means, there's going to be photographs.
For sure.
I look at how that person dresses, and then I turn around and I'll sort of adapt when I go to meet them. So if the guy's like a Palm Beach guy, I'm going to wear like lavender pants, white pants. But if the guy's suit, so yes, that's spot on what you're saying.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, so what are 3 pieces of advice you would give agents about optimizing their business?
God, I didn't expect that question.
I know you didn't. I just
that was good. That was
like
good.
If you're a new agent in this industry, mm-hmm. You've built off of relationships, referrals. Like, what are 3 pieces of advice you would give a 25-year-old who's just jumping in this crazy
Okay, real quick. So the first thing that would come to mind to me is this business is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Boom, love that.
The second one that I would say is that relationship building is the key to this business. It's really the key to life, but relationship building, as I'm a new agent, I don't have a lot of people, then start going to events. What Lisa and I would do, we would go to events all the time. And the other thing that I would say is, in the morning when you wake up, before your feet hit the ground, to get your mindset right, is before you get up, you think of 3 things that you're thankful for from the day before. One of the things that I thought about this morning is you and Manny and dinner at last night.
And you sent me a text.
I'm thankful for my friend. That you have to come out of the gate with the mindset. But those are three things that I think that are extremely important to success, which I could keep going on that, but we're on the podcast.
No, I completely get that. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's for sure.
Life's that way.
Keep on going, really close. Think about your example of making those calls, not giving up, crying in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Makes all the sense in the world. Relationships, here we are 8 years later.
Yeah.
We've done business together. We'll continue to do business together. And waking up in the morning before your feet hit the ground, three things you're thankful for. I love that. One thing I will say about going to the events, I mentioned this on the panel I was on in Miami a couple weeks ago, was you can go to the events. But if you go to the events, you have to be intentional.
I remember this.
And literally, don't just show up.
Yeah.
Like, you're great. I see you. You come to an event. You're introducing yourself. You're not going there and sitting next to Manny and I at an event if we invite you. You're not standing and talking to the 5 people you already know.
Yeah.
You're going out in the room and you're introducing yourself. And that's so important, because what's the point of going there and just simply chatting with the people you already know?
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself. You want to meet new people, and that is the key. Or else don't go to the events. Save the outfit for another time. I know you got plenty of them, but still.
I believe in rituals. And so my ritual when I walk into a room, Lisa used to laugh at this, but I would walk into a room and people are nervous and shy. Before I walk in, I go like this. It's ritual. I go like this. I'm like, Lisa, showtime. It's like time to get it on. Get in the room. Not phony. I'm just going to, no. Start walking in. What's your name? What's of interest? Talk less, let them talk more. You are not going to get to know someone, and obviously you can see I love to talk, but you're not going to get to know.
You're a great listener, though, John.
Yeah, you have to listen, and when you look sincerely, you're not fake, but you sincerely are interested in another person, and that's not just people. I talked to a guy, there's a guy at the hotel I stayed at down the street. The guy would press the elevator for me in the morning. What's your name, man? Where are you from? I believe in encouraging others, so I think that's one of the rituals that I think that's another thing. Like as far as even advice is like, yes, I heard you say that because I watched part of it. There was an Instagram clip, and that's phenomenal advice. But you always have good advice. You have good
advice too. As I said, experience. How did you get into coaching? And why is it so important to you? Because I know that I see you when you come here. You sit with some of my agents who have only been in the industry for a year.
Yeah.
You take the time.
Yeah.
Some of my agents, and you have built relationships of your own. I know that Alex Sanchez went to Florida. You took him around.
Yeah.
You
I love
hosted him for a couple days. And he told me that when you were here the last time, you had mentioned, I remember seeing you and Alex sit in the conference,
right in that room.
In the conference room together, and you've given him advice, and obviously you enjoy coaching. I see you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
How did you get into it, and do you want to continue to do it?
It's a lifestyle. Really, I know this is going to sound a little crazy. You probably haven't on your podcast say this. It's about loving other people. It's about God has blessed me. I said one time recently spoke, and I said, at this point, it's not about the money. Someone came up to me and says, oh, that means that you don't worry about money? No, that has nothing to do with it. At this point in my life, and I've done this pretty much from Wall Street, I want to be able to encourage and uplift as many people as I can. I think it's so important to give back to others. Remember the guy in the bathroom crying? Mm-hmm. I took that experience in my life and I thought, there's got to be a ton of people that not physically go in the bathroom and cry, but want to quit, want to do this. And I just realized that I want to lift up others. I want to encourage others, because in the world we live in, it's really so much about yourself and what's going on in your life. But no, I intentionally want to encourage every single person I come in with.
That.
So that's
the gentleman. When you were on Wall Street, I believe the last name is Shapiro.
Mary Shapiro, he's gone now, but
he's gone. God rest his soul.
We became really good friends.
He told you to not be so uptight.
Yep.
He saw something in you, and he wanted to give you a piece of advice that maybe if he hadn't given you, you would have given up. You might have been back in the air conditioning business.
I'd still be in the bathroom crying.
Yeah, you'd still be in the bathroom crying. Now,
And real quick, most people don't want to share that type of things. That doesn't make you look good, like in the world we live in. I share that story because I think it's extremely important to share that we all, again, in the society we live in, we're so worried about me. It's like, no. If Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, says, if you help enough people get where they were, everything will come to you. And honestly, I've lived that, and it definitely works.
Love that. For those who haven't read that book, they should
Great
read
book.
the book.
That's a prerequisite for success.
Think and Grow Rich is one of the best. So, having a Northeast upbringing, I believe you're from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
You're from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Steelers now because my boy Jonnu Smith plays for them.
Yeah. I met Jonnu Smith through you.
You met Jonnu
through
Smith
you, man. We still go back and forth on Instagram.
Shout out Easy Money.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Jonnu. But so how does that Northeast upbringing give you an advantage over, other agents who just grew up in South Florida or grew up in Florida? And it's not a shot against other agents, but what advantage does it give you? I say this all the time. I'm like, if you grew up in the Northeast with a little snow on the ground, a little ice on your windshield, got that toughness. You have that grit that people waking up and getting to take a stroll on the beach every morning don't have. Plain and simple. I believe that people that are raised in the Northeast, specifically Bostonians, no one's tougher than us. No one is tougher than Bostonians. This city is a tough city. We're resilient. We've been through a lot.
A wonderful city.
Paul Revere walked these streets. But the fact that you're from the Northeast, how is it translated to you having an advantage, and how's it helped? If not an advantage, how has it helped you?
Yeah, well, I never get asked that because someone says, where are you from? I say Florida because really the bulk of my life's in Florida. But it's funny, you mentioned football, and I was a football fan. My dad was not a sports guy. I don't know where I think it came from my uncle, who was like a huge Steeler fan, but I can remember like in the 70s, and I remember like, Jack Lambert and stuff, and how tough they were in Pittsburgh, sort of. They pushed themselves as a tough city, Iron City, steel mills.
For sure.
But I'll tell you what it does is that I grew up Northeast. I know what the winters are like. I know how cold it can be. And most of my business, honestly, most of my referrals are New Yorkers. So I worked, like when I worked on Wall Street, people were like, someone asked me, one of your agents asked me, so you're from New York? People ask me all the time, no, I'm from Pittsburgh. That's where I grew up at. I really grew up in Florida. But I worked in New York a lot because I would fly out. When I was running the brokerage firms, I would leave on a Sunday afternoon. It wasn't the greatest thing for my marriage, which that's a different podcast, but because I was gone
Sorry,
so much.
Lisa.
Yeah, I was gone so much. Lisa really raised my kids, but I was in New York a lot. I know the city like the back of my hand. Get me in front of a New Yorker. I can talk about places, I can talk about neighborhoods, I can talk about restaurants. So it's just helped me be more relatable with the city and things like that. And I'm there. My 3 sons all live in the city. Yeah. I'm there all the time with them. So when someone talks about how the city's changed, I'm sorry, you can go a million ways to Sunday. It's not the same as it used to be. So I can relate when they want to get a place in Florida. I don't rip on the city. Like when people are like, New York's over, that's not true. That's hype. New York will never be over. Boston will never be over. So that's really what helps
in Boston,
me.
John.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. People talk about taxes and the weather in Florida. Mm-hmm. That's a big reason why some people are moving there for 6 months and a day plus.
Yeah.
That's why I know there's a big shift in people moving to South Florida as their primary residence.
Yeah.
What is one thing that South Florida offers for your lifestyle that actually surprises people? surprises.
Oh, that's easy.
Lifestyle. Like aside from the taxes and the weather,
Yeah.
what's one thing about South Florida or moving there that when people move there, they're like surprised about?
Okay, that's easy because I get asked this all the time. Someone's like, so what do people say when they move to Florida? I'll give this to you real easy. They say that they exercise more. And it's probably because you're at the beach more and you want to look better. But they exercise more. They find themselves walking more. The weather probably promotes that. Second thing is, believe it or not, is they all say, oh my gosh, the landscaping, the palm trees, how green everything is. Like when you come in on Okeechobee Road into Palm Beach, I call it the road to Rome. But as you come in, it's these big royal palms just lining down the street as you're headed to Worth Avenue. So they tell me, they say that it's the weather. They say that how the weather, how much they love it. They talk about the green landscaping, and they said they just feel more alive. That is said over and over and over again. And I also get asked, do people leave? Do people move here and then they find it's not for them? The only people that would leave Florida, the bulk of anybody, would be, which I'm not yet, I want to be a grandfather. I hope my 3 sons are listening to this, but is if their children are starting to have grandchildren and they want to spend time with their grandkids. That's probably one of the only reasons people will leave Florida and go back up.
Makes sense. So being in South Florida, you were on new development. Mm-hmm. You've been on new development projects. You're involved in some now as an ambassador, as you've done on-site sales.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of involvement in the new development side of selling real estate, luxury real estate. Mm-hmm. What is something most people don't know about working on a new development project?
There's good and there's bad.
Yeah, like what are the pros? Give me 1 or 2 pros, 1 or 2 cons.
I'll give you cons first.
Okay.
You're at a sales center. You're at the same place every single day.
Which is not what people sign up for when they first get into real estate.
In real estate. Another one is I was just sharing this with someone that you and I have a mutual friend in Boston in the development business, is that when you're selling general real estate, I can go to the MLS and send you a bunch of listings and say, which one do you like? Like, does this appeal to you? When you're in new development, you have to show the client the same thing over and over, and you have to show them why it will agree with them. And if it doesn't agree with them, that's okay. I'm not out to convince someone to do it on a sales center. I'm out to convey what it'll do for them. 2 pros. You will never meet so many agents and new faces like you do at a sales center. It is accelerated networking in real estate. You will meet so many people. So through my time in new development, I can walk into a place, and if you don't know me well and I walk in, they're like, holy crap, you know everybody, because I've met a lot of agents and things like that. And another pro in new development is all these people you meet, whether they buy or not, they could become, depending on how you build relationships mm-hmm. with you and I know how to do that, you're gonna find that they'll be a future client. You cannot beat that. You cannot beat it.
I mean, I'm also assuming that, let's not forget about Lisa. Lisa is your business partner. She's your
my right
wife.
arm.
She's the mother of your children.
Yeah.
She's the rock of the family.
Yeah.
She's the reason, like you said earlier, you're still here today.
Yeah.
Chugging along. So basically, talk about the fact that if you're on a new development project and you have a partner and your wife, how is that helpful for you?
Yeah.
Because if they don't listen, and our goal is, when we are on a new development project in this business, obviously the number 1 goal is to sell the building we are selling.
Yeah.
Now, if you are selling a building that is all 3+ bedrooms, all units are 3,000 plus square feet, and someone walks in and they only need a 2-bedroom, and they don't need more than 2,000 square feet, and you don't offer it, what are you going to do?
Give it to have Lisa. Have
Call
help
Lisa,
her.
right?
Yeah.
You're gonna give Lisa a call and be like, "Hey, I have John Smith in the building.
Yeah.
And I've showed him and exercised every option possible. We've went through it all. We've exhausted all options in this building.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for him.
Yeah.
Simply does not work.
Yeah.
And also, he really needs a pool. This guy likes to do laps every morning, Lisa.
Yeah.
Oh, that's no problem. I can show him X building, Y building, et cetera, and then boom, you get a general brokerage client out of it.
Yeah.
Well, especially if you built rapport with them and they liked you and you connected with them.
Yeah.
So that's a big pro.
And that's also you can try to. I was telling someone at one of your events last night. You can become that warm person, that caring person. You really can't fake that. It has to be inside.
It has to be authentic.
But speaking of Lisa, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without Lisa. There's not a chance.
That's real.
Yeah, we've been together for 40 years, and people will meet me.
And she was in real estate before you.
Yeah, she was in real estate before me. People will meet us, and I'll say about Lisa, they get it real quickly. They're like, oh, so Lisa's the brains in this whole show. Like all you do is you dress up and you got a great personality.
Kind of like Manny and I.
Yeah.
Manny's the brains.
But they're like,
Manny's the brains behind the operation.
Lisa's really the brains, but Lisa, I wouldn't make it just like you wouldn't make it where you are without Jovi.
I 100%.
Yeah,
and believe it or not, Jovi's going to be jumping on one of these episodes soon.
Yeah,
so,
I want to watch that one.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. So I get that, the new development, general brokerage, there's pros, there's cons. And, I think that the best part about new development as well is if you actually build rapport with a buyer and they end up buying in the building and you connect with them and you stay, in touch.
Yeah.
Eventually you get a resale.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
resales do end up coming along, which is great. You learn about new product, you learn about the market, you're engaged, and it's experience.
Yeah.
It's experience, and every building has its challenges.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just real quick, I'm on a new development right now. Shameless plug, Banyan Tree Residences.
Shout out Banyan Tree. We saw that project yesterday.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah, it's sick.
I didn't know that's their every one of their properties is all bungalow style.
Yeah.
That's what I got from yesterday.
Yeah.
So this one in Florida is going to be the first building.
One in a building.
Vertical building.
Yeah, vertical building in
That's
downtown.
awesome.
So I've recently, it's funny how your mind can start going things. And like the last year or so, I just kept thinking, you know what? I want to go back into new development. I want to go back. This project came along. I went into it. In my career, we were talking about this yesterday on this same floor, that I want to get more into new development. I want to start running projects. Yep. I'm looking to be the director of sales for this project. It's just something I want to do in my career a little different. Obviously, staying in general real estate and kind of expand my horizons.
But you also have a great partner in Lisa, so you can do both.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. We get a couple minutes left. Let's jump into a day in the life of John Wilson. Talk to me, quick. What are you doing in Florida? You're waking up. Give me a quick 60 seconds.
Let's be real on this podcast.
Yep.
You have helped me with a day in the life of John Wilson. I watched George getting up, driving. It's 4:30 in the morning. Who gets up at 4:30?
I do.
I
did
watched
today.
George. George started telling me my typical day is I get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
I meditate. I may pray about the day in front of me. I get to the gym. Either I'm working out in the gym or I'm riding a road bike. I've done that for 30 years, the road bike end of it. I write down what I have to do before I go to bed. I might have a calendar. I write down real quick what are the top 5 things, top 6 things.
The next day.
Next day.
So you're doing this before.
So when I wake up, I know exactly where I'm going. If you're a new agent, if you're a seasoned agent, if you're not doing that, you're not starting off your right day. And the other thing I do is, I prepare my mind. And I think working out, I think you and I were talking about this, but when I work out and I'm riding that bike and I am working out in the gym, my heart rate is, I'm pushing myself. You're not going to beat me. My mindset, the base of my day is started, and it gives you confidence. So that's a typical day how I start in John Wilson. Lots of phone calls. Every one of my neighbors, because I walk
Lunch?
my dog. Sometimes not.
Yeah, we can't.
Sometimes not.
No.
I could, if I'm busy. Coffee, guilty, like coffee.
Okay.
Probably 2 or 3 cups of coffee. Not all at one time. Try to drink coffee black because just health wise. And I'll work, look, like whatever it takes, man. My kids, different than you. You have young children.
Yes,
my
for
kids
sure.
are all gone. So if I work till 10 o'clock, that's fine. I try to get to bed at 10 because I like reading.
Good. What's one of the biggest lessons you've learned in your years in business that you could share with people today? I know you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
What is if you could share one lesson with everyone, what would it be?
Your attitude.
Your attitude.
Your attitude determines everything. It determines your attitude in your marriage, your attitude raising kids, your attitude towards your clients. Again, I'll go back. You don't hear this a lot. I truly love people. I really do. I want to see the best in everyone. I appreciate my relationships. So I would say the only thing you can control, think about it in life, you really can't even control your health. You can exercise, but you can control your mind. And your mind will determine everything of where you're going to go in life. That's easy.
And speaking of your mind and controlling that,
excuse me.
Putting business aside, I know how important your family is. You just, I saw a couple tears coming out when you mentioned this.
Yeah, for sure.
That was something that obviously is near and dear to you, your relationship with your wife. Obviously, you have 3 children.
Yeah.
And, a couple years ago, you got some bad news.
Yeah, this is going to be hard to talk about.
Your son.
Yeah.
And I obviously asked you if you'd be okay with this.
I am.
One of your
My
children,
middle son,
your youngest boy, was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get too deep
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it, but I remember you telling me it, and it was devastating news for me. My stomach hurt. I kept checking in with you.
You did, man. So important.
I don't ever.
George and Manny, all the time.
I don't ever see you without asking you how he's doing.
No, you're right.
But
that's what makes us.
But
us.
other people have dealt with this. People are dealing with it every day.
Yep.
Cancer is a terrible thing. Cancer sucks.
Yeah.
How have you been able to stay above water? How have you been able to keep it together or not keep it together? And how has this changed your perspective in life overall, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, no problem.
Because it's not easy.
I'll tell you exactly how I've kept it together, but this has been pretty much my whole life. I was raised in a Christian home. God. That's the only thing I kept thinking. I just kept praying and praying and praying. I pray about everything, but it's definitely made a difference because people would be like, how the hell are you getting through this? God. Praying. My family. Lisa, for sure. It's changed my whole life. I gave this talk to George's room the other day that I realized so many things that I worry about and thought was a big deal. When you lose your health or one of your kids, which is really one of the worst nightmares you can get as a parent, is having one of your children sick. Is that some of the stuff I thought was important, I realized, honestly, this sounds crazy, and my son would say this, probably one of the best things in our lives was that happening. I know that sounds nuts, but it'll change your thinking. I remember being in the chemo where everyone's waiting for chemo, and I would just sit in that room and be like, wow. Like this, just look at all of these people. You realize cancer is much bigger. I realized that I thought I was really grateful, but I'm way more grateful now. My son has been going through the process. It's over 1.5 years. We were just on the phone before I went to bed talking about it. But a lot of it's been shrinking. It's gone from his neck. It's gone from this. it's changed him drastically for sure. I told him, I said,
And he's a fighter.
he's a fighter, and you know what else? When he first got diagnosed, he said, "I'm going to beat this." He used a different few words, which I won't get into in this podcast, but he says, "I'm going to beat this blank thing." And what it's happened is it's changed him. And the one thing that he's done is he has reached out to other people. He's sort of an advocate of people going through it. So we will believe he will get through this.
You got my thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
always,
no,
brother.
I love you, George. I love
always. All right, well, this was awesome. We could talk for.
We talked about everything.
We could talk for hours and hours, obviously.
Yeah, I
But
gotta catch the plane.
I'm gonna end it with one question. 20, 30, 40 years from now, if you can be remembered, how do you want people to remember John Wilson in a few words? How do you want to be remembered?
Cared about other people, encouraged other people, had a very uplifting attitude. Well, you know who I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
But a mutual friend of ours passed away, Darren Tanzi. I'll probably get emotional about this, but he was a true friend of both of us. But I was at his memorial service with George spoke at. A lot of people spoke, but George spot on. And that's nothing against anybody else that spoke at it. But the one thing that everyone said in that room, I'm transparent. You couldn't say it about me, unfortunately, but every single person in that room said, "I never heard Darren Tanzi say a bad thing about anybody."
I agree.
Everybody. I got in my car when we went to leave Lisa, and I said, "I want my memorial service to be like that." Not everyone can say, because I do get upset with people, and again, just being transparent. But I would say a person that loved other people, loved life, lived a life of gratitude, and was thankful, for sure.
I love that. Well, thank you.
Thank you,
for
George.
being here today. Thank you for unlocking your legacy.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Thank you.
unlocking
This was fun.
everything that you've went through.
Yeah.
And I look forward to continuing our relationship
Yeah.
and seeing you thrive.
Oh, no, we're going to continue our relationship.
Appreciate you.
You did a great job, man. Good
Thank
interview.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.